Today I have the privilege of meeting with Rob Zabbia of the Zabbia Insurance Agency. And we're going to spend a little time asking you some questions about insurance.
Okay.
That's okay with you?
That'd be great.
Okay, so the first thing that popped into my head was many people, when they think about insurance, sometimes they think it's boring. So tell us your perspective on that.
Well, it's funny because when my dad wanted me to get into this business when I got out of college, I thought the same thing.
Okay, so there you
So
go.
it took me several years before I kind of realized what's involved. And insurance is not just a policy, it's risk management. So it's a matter of analyzing people's needs and matching something up. So it's problem solving, which I really, it's two things I enjoy. It's I work with people and I love working with people, and it's problem solving. So that's what makes it not boring.
Not boring.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, cool. So when I was looking at the logo for the Zabbia agency, it says since 1915, and clearly you're not that old.
No.
So you mentioned Dad.
Yes.
And so just tell us a little bit about how did you get into this?
Okay. So my great grandfather came over from Sicily as a barber.
Ah, Sicilian.
Yeah. And he got into real estate, and back then, if you sold real estate, you also did the insurance because there wasn't much of an insurance industry back then.
Okay.
And then the insurance took over more of the business, and then my grandfather and my dad's uncle got involved, and then my grandfather was more of a gypsy. He was like all over the place. He did all different things, but my dad's uncle took over the business, and then my dad had a Coca-Cola route. He sold that. He was looking for something to do, so he started talking to his uncle, and his uncle said, instead of coming into the Bronx to take over the family business here, you'd be better off, starting out, because he wasn't ready to retire.
Okay.
So he said, go to Allstate because they offer the best combination of products and benefits.
Very cool. So when did you come in?
So I came in '96. I came to work for my dad. I sold computers for 6 years right out of college. I worked in the automotive industry. I'm a car nut, so
Okay.
I got a job in the automotive industry.
That's relevant to what you do today.
Exactly. And so I went to my dad and I was looking, because most of the company I worked for, most people didn't stay there more than 3 or 4 years. But I was doing well, but I started getting burnt out. So I was looking at changing careers. A lot of my friends went on to Microsoft, IBM. And I really didn't want to do the big traveling sales type thing. So my dad said, Allstate changed it where now you can own your agency. So the idea of ownership of my own business attracted me, and then the insurance part I kind of fell in love with after that. Exactly.
All right, so you've been in for about 22 years then, right? Have you always been in this location in Massapequa?
We started on Hicksville Road in Massapequa, and we outgrew that location, and we moved here about 15 years ago.
Okay, so just so you all know, 847 Broadway in Massapequa is where I am sitting right now with Rob. Why Massapequa?
When I grew up in Levittown, and we were looking, and there wasn't room for another Allstate agency there because my dad left the company-owned office. So they actually asked us to come to Massapequa. They mentioned a couple other towns, but Massapequa was high on their list. And when I looked at the makeup of the community and how tight-knit it is, and being 60% Italian, kind of drove me to that as well. So I immediately got involved with the Sons of Italy organization.
Okay.
And so it's a great tight-knit community. I'm involved with the chamber. I'm involved, as I said, with the Sons of Italy. A lot of multi-generational people live here, so that's what really drew me to it.
Yeah, it's a great area. My office is located down the block, but in Massapequa Park technically. But what I find is that Massapequa is a great community.
Yeah.
It's centrally located to everything. You could hop on the train. You could be in Manhattan within the hour. A lot of great businesses around here as well. So, what's the biggest misperception that people have when they're looking to purchase insurance?
Well, the biggest misperception is it's all about price. That's what a lot of the advertising is trying to promote. Like you always hear, say 15% or more, but usually you're cutting 20% or more of coverage in order to say that 15%.
Which they don't tell you.
Right. Well, the insurance companies don't want you to have the better coverage, because if they have the better coverage, then they're going to have to pay out more money. So they try to not show you what you really need to know and what you need to protect your family. So what we do is we go through people's, life to figure out what fits for them.
Right.
So that's the biggest mistake. It's not just a matter of I get into a car accident, I go to a body shop, they fix my car.
Mhm.
No, it's how many lawyers are going to be coming after you, what kind of doctor bills do you have. A lot of people don't realize your medical is all tied into your car insurance in an accident.
Mhm.
And then with a house, all the different risks that you face. That, I mean, the lawyers are the biggest threat, because you have somebody comes after you for liability, that could be millions.
Yeah, well, I can attest to everything that you're saying, because I was one of those naive consumers when it came to insurance. And for me, when I started with a different agent many years ago, it was about price, like how much money could I save. And it was really refreshing when I sat with you to really probe, like, what did I need for my family? Because God forbid something happened here, it would have cost me a lot of money. So I found my experience with you to be really honest. You have great integrity, and even though like one policy that I went with was more expensive than a policy that I had, by grouping all of my insurances together as well, so home, auto, the umbrella policy, it actually came out either close to or less, but I felt so much more secure knowing that you really asked me questions that I never thought about.
Yeah.
So.
Well, people don't know what questions to ask. We always look at it. We have over 3,000 households. So what I always do, and my staff, whenever we sit with somebody, is what would those 3,000 people that we have insured, what would they want me to tell you to ask me? And that's the way we kind of approach it, because we've seen all the different situations and the different claims and the pitfalls and the mistakes people have made, and we don't want people to make those mistakes. The worst thing that could happen to me is me telling you, I'm sorry, you're not covered for that, when it's something you could have been covered for. So we want to make sure that you're aware of what's available, and now we're not going to push you into buying something that you don't want to pay for, but we want to make sure that you understand, okay, you live on Long Island. Long Island is a flood zone. Now, it might be a low-risk flood zone, but there is a risk. Now, it might make sense in Farmingdale to buy a flood insurance policy because you're so far away from any water. But Massapequa, even some of the in-ground, even some of the inland places, if the water accumulates, that's still a flood.
Right.
So like
and you don't
Levittown,
think about that.
a lot of people in Levittown, they don't have basements, so
They think
3 inches of
weird.
water in the house when there's no basement, that could be tens of thousands of dollars. So, again, is it worth taking it? That's up to you. We're going to make sure that you're aware that, hey, this is a risk you face, and this is what it would be if you wanted to cover it. And if you don't want to cover it, okay, great, not a problem.